IT raids conducted at the premises of opposition leaders and their relatives have become the latest political flashpoint ahead of the elections. In the latest instance, the Income Tax Department raided the residence of TDP leader and Guntur MP Jaidev Galla. TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu has called it political vendetta. Now, he is not the first opposition leader to make this claim. There have been raids at MP Chief Minister Kamal Nath's relatives' homes, on JDS leaders' offices and homes, as well as premises connected to Mayawati's relatives. Arun Jaitley has responded to the charge today, saying the action was legitimate and money for the poor was being siphoned off in some of the cases. The Election Commission, by the way, has also expressed concerns over these raids. So is the IT Department acting on the behest of the government, or is the action truly legitimate? To speak on this, I'm joined today by former CBDT Chairman BM Singh. I'm also speaking with BJP spokesperson Tuhin Sinha and Vinayak Dalmia of the Congress party. Welcome to all of you. I'm going to start with the expert on income tax on the panel, which is Mr. Singh. Just an overall view to give us an idea, Mr. Singh, of the kind of action we have seen. Now, the Indian Express has a report today which says that in the last 6 months, there have been 15 raids on opposition parties and one on a member of the BJP or someone connected to the BJP. Should raids be happening at this frequency close to polls? Is it something that happens usually? The kind of information the Income Tax Department has been giving out on one of the raids in Madhya Pradesh, is all of this par for the course?
Well, you see, one can't comment on why the raids were authorized. They have obviously got sufficient information. There has to be reason to believe before a warrant for a search and seizure is issued. But you're right. At this particular juncture, when the elections are around the corner or about to start, when this thing happens, it does give an impression that the ruling party, the government, is acting in a manner which is not entirely fair. And they could have waited, if possible, for the elections to be over to conduct the raid. Maybe they had information that the searches were such that they could not wait for any further period. But having said that, once the raid was conducted, once the searches were made, then they should have kept it under wrap and not publicized it. See, under Section 138, information should not be given out unless it is sanctioned by a particular authority for public purpose. Now, at the end of her search, if you start leaking out information that so-and-so has been raided and so-and-so has been found and what all has been found, then obviously the benefit will go to the opposing political party. And that is what should have been avoided. Even if they had to conduct a raid at this particular juncture, this should have been avoided.
Okay, let me go first to Tuhin from the BJP, because the charge is that the BJP is using the Income Tax Department and, let's look at those Indian Express figures again. In the last 6 months, 15 raids on opposition parties and one on a BJP leader. So it's either one of two things, that everyone who is in the BJP and connected to them is as pure as driven snow and can absolutely do no wrong, or that a range of opposition leaders are just extremely corrupt people. Is the Income Tax Department being politicized, Tuhin?
Well, Tamanna, cliched claims of vendetta politics can never justify corruption. I'll give you two examples of some of the raids which have taken place in the last few days. If you look at Karnataka, the money which was meant to go for the midday meal scheme was being routed back to certain engineers of the PWD department. And if you take the example of Madhya Pradesh, the amounts which were supposed to go for proper PWD works was being channelized for political purposes. And this had been happening in the last few weeks. Now, these are you know, I mean, amounts, at least in the case of Karnataka, this was a sum which was meant for the poorest section of society. And if I can understand that the present-day opposition is the hub of corruption and they need money because, frankly, you know, most of the donations which have come to political parties, I don't think the opposition, especially the Congress, has got a good pie of it. So I can understand their desperation to bring out or to dig out government funds for political purposes. Yeah. But then, you know, I mean, it amounted to a gross violation of governance ethics. And especially at a time like this, when it was being employed for malified purposes in election, I think the income tax department had to do its bit.
Okay, let's get into
the raids should wait just because.
Okay, so why should raids wait? Because there are elections, but there's just a couple of things, Tuhin, and I'm coming back to you with a follow-up. I know Vinayak wants to come in, but in the Madhya Pradesh case, it was strange that the income tax department puts out a press release, because if you're doing it for one raid, why not for each and every raid that you conduct? And then Kailash Vijayvargiya, a prominent BJP leader from the state, puts out information of 281 crores, which is the same as what the income tax department says. He tweets it out before the income tax department, which is when it starts looking fishy. That how does a BJP leader know what the income tax department is going to say?
In the case of Mr. Vijayvargiya, he would be in the best position to explain, you know, how come he knew the figure. But my sense is that, you know, there are lots of people who have quit Congress in recent weeks out of sheer, despondency and frustration at the Congress prospect. So my sense is that one of those people would have confided, you know, the cash which was in flow. The black money which was in flow in Congress offices.
No, I mean, come on. How does a BJP leader know exactly what the income tax department is going to say? And if you can't answer for Kailash Vijayvargiya, but today you're answering for the income tax department, so the question does squarely fall to you, Tuhin.
No, so I wouldn't know the exact, you know, how Mr. Vijayvargiya got to know of the figure. But the fact is, you know, there are multiple examples. There are multiple examples. You know, I mean, in this case, yes, the fact that the figure is coinciding is something which he will need to answer. But you know, fact is that Congress is the hub of black money, and during the elections, lots of people have quit Congress recently, and one of them would have passed on information about it.
Okay. So actually, we can't divine how he knew. It is a very strange coincidence at best. But Vinayak, Dalmia, let me turn it around. If the income tax department has information, why should they not act on it? If a lot of opposition leaders are being raided, maybe because they're more corrupt.
No,
Convenient coincidence, Tamanna, that suddenly in the last 6 months leading up to elections, you find 15 opposition leaders who are corrupt, and only in the opposition do you find this corruption, and only now do you want to raid them when you've had 5 years? We are not worried. The BJP is an incompetent government. They've been not able to do anything for the last 5 years. What more will they do in the last 5 weeks of this term? Let them do what they want. The people can see. These are cheap election stunts. I won't even call them vendetta because it's just cheap stunts. And I was hoping the BJP spokesperson and my good friend would come up with better arguments and answers, but he doesn't. You know, a BJP minister from Madhya Pradesh revealing the income tax numbers is very similar to Amit Malviya revealing the election commission dates and election outcomes. So this is very match fixing of the BJP, collusion of the BJP. And this is the real Gathbandhan of India. What is the Gathbandhan? It's the Gathbandhan of Prime Minister Modi and his hitman Amit Shah and the income tax and the ED and the CBI, and now we also find out the RAW. That is the real Mahagathbandhan. That is the real coalition and alliance politics. All of these individuals and these agencies are working in cahoot and collusion to try and win at all costs because they are afraid and they are desperate to win, and they know they are not winning. And therefore, they are throwing their last dice on the board, so to speak, let me ask you, that what can we do to win? Sure, we are not worried.
How will the raids
We're not
make
worried.
them win?
They can do whatever they want.
How will the raids
make them win?
How will the raids make them win? When you're making an accusation that is political vendetta, how does it hurt you if you've not done anything wrong?
I am
how does it
answering
make
your
them
question.
Win?
It won't make them win. They think it can make them win by harassing the opposition, by creating a propaganda and negative perception against a particular leader. But we know and you know these are cheap tactics and they will not succeed. They are desperate and they are panicking and therefore they are trying whatever they want. This will not succeed. They've been incompetent for 5 years. What more will they do in 5 weeks? We challenge them. And if they were really serious about going after political corruption, then the few people that they should have raided, even in the last few weeks, should have been, I challenge them, I dare the BJP. Why don't you go and raid Jai Shah? Why don't you go and raid Shaurya Doval? Why don't you raid some of your own former chief ministers against whom there are multiple corruption allegations? You don't have the courage.
Okay, Tuhin Sinha wants to come in.
If you were serious
yes,
about corruption, I challenge you.
Okay.
Go raid Jai Shah.
Okay, he's had your challenge. Yes.
Go raid your chief ministers.
1 minute, Vinayak.
You know, I admire your audacity to challenge somebody on corruption. But anyway, you know, this whole argument that why now? Why are the raids happening now? Please note that Congress is a 24/7.
Answer my question.
1 minute.
Why don't you raid Shaurya Doval and Jai Shah?
Vinayak will speak one by one. Vinayak will speak one by one. You will get your turn.
If you are serious, raid Jai Shah and Shaurya Doval.
2015.
All of India knows the corruption.
Guys, 1 minute. Tuhin and Vinayak, you have to listen to me here. We're not going to speak over each other because no one can understand what you say.
That is why you are scared.
Vinayak, you'll have to hold off. You'll have to hold off. Okay, I'm going to go to MB Singh. While the two spokespersons figure out how to behave, I'm going to go to MB Singh. Hang on. Okay, Mr. MB Singh, let me come to you with the point of what difference it makes. I'm going to have to mute your audio if you continue like this. Vinayak, that's not fair. Listen to me. Vinayak, he listened to you. You will get your chance. Let him complete. If you don't like his point, you have more than enough opportunity to rebut. It's not fair if you talk over each other because no one can understand and no one needs to waste their time hearing a cacophony of noises. Let's not do that.
No problem.
Come on.
My only submission to him is
spokespersons can engage in a debate without a mess.
Answer the question.
Okay, he will. If he doesn't, then you can rebut. But let him have his say. It's not fair. Tuhin, I give you.
Who is here to decide who should be raided?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Continue your point, Tuhin.
No, so my point is that, you know, the whole thing that why now? Please know that Congress is a 24/7, 365 days a year brokerage firm. The National Herald case came out in 2015. Cases against Karti Chidambaram came to the fore in late 2017, early 2018. So it's not why now. The fact is that, you know, even in the last 1 week, we got to know of underhand deals which Rahul Gandhi was cutting with the scam accused in 2G case. So Congress, you know, is a 24/7, 365 days a year brokerage firm.
That doesn't answer the question.
Entire argument
it doesn't answer the question about why more raids in the last 6 months.
It is the prerogative of the income tax.
Okay, it doesn't answer the question about why more raids in the last 6 months.
So, is the Congress spokesperson going to decide who should be raided?
Why not Jai Shah and little...
And I think the raids have taken place uniformly.
I'm coming to MB Singh with a very important point.
Raids have taken place uniformly across the last 5 years.
Vinayak, 1 sec. Tuhin, 1 sec. I'm going to come to MB Singh, who is a former CBDT chairman. Show him some respect, please. Yes, Mr. Singh, I want to come to you on the point of what happens with these raids. And again, these are Indian Express figures. 2,126 search and seizure operations conducted between FY16 and FY18. Out of these, 89 persons convicted. Conviction rates are poor. You know that, and you can speak a bit about it, Mr. Singh. But what do these raids actually do? Because the fact is that these allegations are not new. They've been leveled against the UPA as well, that income tax department is often used to, sort of suppress or threaten opposition voices. So what is the purpose? What do these raids do and what kind of damage can they do? Give us some perspective on that.
Okay, firstly, I'm BM Singh, not MB Singh, but anyway, that's excusable. But another thing is, as far as what do these raids do, they do cause a lot of harassment or a lot of trouble to the person who's raided. And actually, I just heard on the arguments being, thrown about that so much was found and so much is this thing. You cannot jump to the conclusion that this is the amount which has evaded tax or which will be taxed, because it is initially you find something you make an inventory of it, you seize it or otherwise, and then you ask for an explanation. Now, after the explanation is given, the whole thing goes through the purpose of an assessment and the whole process of appeal and whatnot. So the point is, the person concerned is harassed in a way which keeps him occupied for the next few years until the matter is decided by the highest authority in appeal, which could be a high court or Supreme Court. Now, as far as this particular issue is concerned, as to why do these people just throw out the figures, because so much is found concealed and so much of this thing, I'm totally against it. At the maximum they could have said was, okay, we have found so much, but what is exactly that lead to? You can't jump to the conclusion that this is all evaded, that this is an income which should have been brought to tax. And as far as politicians saying that so-and-so is corrupt and so-and-so corrupt, I say let him who has not sinned throw the first stone. That is all I have to say.
That's an excellent statement. And yeah, you know, politicians will talk about corruption during election season. The question really is bigger, Tuhin. The question is whether, you know, these organizations like the Income Tax Department are being used politically, and let's drop pretenses here. All parties do it. Exactly. All parties in power do it.
Another thing I wanted to tell you at this time.
Yes, Mr. Singh, yes.
I wanted to just say this, okay, during my tenure, during my time, I did not ask, I did not experience any political pressure on a particular raid for a particular objective of a political nature. But yes, as a young officer, we were sent on many searches and seizures at the time of the emergency. But that was really an extraordinary situation. Otherwise, it has never come about that the political people ask you to raid the opposition for a particular purpose.
Okay. Well, the general perception is that it happens. It's par for the course. All political parties do it. Is it more blatant now, Tuhin Sinha? And is it connected? Because you know, let Tuhin come in.
Tamanna, let me come in.
You know, let Tuhin come in, and then I'll come to you, Vinayak. The reason I'm asking Tuhin is, suppose they were. Now, let me just finish my point. The reason I ask this is, if there is an action by the Income Tax Department and they put out a press release, and remember here the Election Commission has actually asked the IT department, what are you doing? Please tell us who you're raiding when the Model Code of Conduct is on. Yeah. Put that aside. But if there is an action, it's in its place. But then if you as a ruling party then pick on that and make it a poll issue, then people are going to ask, does 2 + 2 not add up to 4?
See, the only difference between what used to happen 5 years ago and now is that 5 years ago there used to be underhand deals between political parties and open deals. That's you know, if I allow you to go ahead with corruption, or allow you if we don't go ahead with these raids, they used to ensure you know, purchase of support from those political parties. That is the only thing which has changed. Irrespective of possible need of those political parties in future, we go ahead with these raids. We give a free hand to the agencies. That's about the only difference. And given the urgency and the magnitude of these cases, I don't see a reason why, you know, raids should wait till the elections get over. Okay. All of these money belongs to public funds. I mean, belong to the taxpayers' money.
Okay, Vinayak, come in. Just with one, I just want to add one point that Arun Jaitley made today. He says in his blog, is there a right to equality that no action can be taken till the opponents are charged? So this comes to the basic point of saying, okay, you're raiding only opposition leaders, why aren't you raiding X, Y, and Z? And you asked that question earlier. So does it mean that the Income Tax Department, while taking any action or deciding to conduct a search and seizure, will have to do a mental tally that how many BJP leaders have I raided or people connected to them? Then, you know, once that quota is full up, I can go to the next, you know, lot of opposition leaders. You know, it doesn't work that way.
You've asked a bunch of questions and I'll answer all of them. Firstly, your statement works under the assumption that each of these agencies, whether it's the CBI, whether it's the IT, whether it's the election, the Enforcement Directorate, are independent bodies today. They're not independent bodies. You saw few days ago what happened. Few days ago we found out that during demonetization, Amit Shah, which is the BJP party president, has been using RAW to siphon off his black money. You have reduced India's intelligence agency into your own personal Hawala agent and political office. And therefore, are you telling me, do you want anybody to believe that the income tax or the CBI or the ED are independent under this regime? They are not. And my esteemed colleague right now told you that in his tenure, in previous governments, including previous BJP and Congress governments, he has never felt pressure. But today, each officer is facing pressure because this is a different regime. This is a ruthless dictatorial regime. Like I said, the real Mahagathbandhan is between Prime Minister Modi, his hitman Amit Shah, and these agencies. That is the real Gathbandhan. But we are not worried. They can do what they want. I challenge them on TV. They can do what they want. They will find nothing. And the people have seen through them. They are losing badly in 2019, and that is why they're doing this. If they were very confident of a victory, let me tell you something very simply, Tamanna. If Prime Minister Modi and his right hand Amit Shah were confident and secure of a victory in 2019, they would not be doing this. The reason they are doing this is they are trying to limit the opposition, they are trying to harass the opposition.
But is it limiting you? I'll come back to the question I asked. If there's nothing wrong, if it doesn't matter, conviction rates are low, then ignore it. Why such a hue and cry? You have the chief minister, three chief ministers. You have the chief ministers of Karnataka.
Do you see me hue and cry?
You have the chief minister of Andhra Pradesh.
1 second.
Broader point, not just the Congress, broader point. Chief ministers of Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh.
I'm answering your question.
And Karnataka are saying political vendetta. Don't bother. Don't bother if it's not true. Yeah.
So I don't believe that when you're in opposition and you see something wrong happening that you're supposed to stay mute. You're not supposed to stay a mute spectator. We are going to do our business. We're going to go and fight these elections with full strength and we're going to come victorious. We're not bothered, but that does not mean we're going to remain silent. We're not going to be mute spectators. Because what is happening is a complete violation, not just of the Constitution or of democratic traditions. It is a violation of all of these bodies. You have reduced these bodies. You have reduced the research and analysis wing, the RAW, which is your secret intelligence agency, into Amit Shah's Hawala agent. What more do you want?
Okay.
It is shocking. And if you were serious about corruption, why now? Why not earlier? And last question. And because my good friend from the BJP did not answer it, I'm going to ask him again. Why not raid Chota Doval and why not raid Chota Shah? Why have you left these people out? They're a den of corruption. Everybody knows it. Look at Shaurya Doval's accounts. Look at his Cayman hedge funds. Look at where the money comes from. Look at Jay Shah's assets.
I want to come back to what Mr. Singh said a little while ago, that, let those who have, nothing to hide cast the first stone as far as politics and corruption goes. But Mr. Singh, I'm going to give you the last word on the show.
Can I make the closing? Can I make my comments? I just need to go for another show. Can I just make the can I just make a last comment?
Okay, one quick last attempt with one last short comment, because the last word will go to Mr. Singh. Yes, Tuhin.
See, first of all, I repeat the answer which the Congress representative is asking. I don't think it's his prerogative to decide who should be raided. I don't think he has a background in the income tax department. Let the income tax department take a call on that. Secondly, this is not. If like you mentioned, like you yourself mentioned, if these are such frivolous things, why should they be so rattled?
Doesn't mean you should do it.
This is not the first time and not the last time that the Congress leaders have been embroiled.
Doesn't mean you should do it either. I want to ask
we are not doing it at all. The fact you yourself brought out the conviction rate. What was the conviction rate?
Oh, come on, Mr.
The conviction rate is always pathetic.
Sinha,
that's a bigger question, that what exactly is the income tax department doing if their conviction rates are so poor? That's a question directly on the efficiency of the income tax department. Okay, Mr. Singh, last word to Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, my question to you is a broader one. We have heard before that these agencies are misused by political parties. What is the impact of that on the credibility of these, institutions as well as these offices like the income tax department?
Well, so far I had a 37 years experience I did not feel any political pressure at any particular time to use my powers to fix somebody, except maybe, like I told you earlier, during the time of the emergency, which was quite an aberration. But it does destroy an institution, I would say, whether the income tax, the CBI, or any other, the ED or anything, when they are being used as tools to further a political end. And once that happens, then the discipline amongst the officers and the people who are staffing the particular service, that discipline also disintegrates. And they try to take advantage of the fact that they've been asked to do things which they should not have done. And that is where the whole crux of the situation is. Then you'll be destroying a particularly good institute, a good arm of the government.
Okay, just a quick update here. The Income Tax Department has said that they did not, search the premises of Jaydev Galla. They in fact just searched the premises of one Gurappa Naidu, a cost accountant, who then revealed that he works with Jaydev Galla. So press releases coming on all the action. I hope this is consistent then, and not just selective on certain, actions that the income tax takes against certain parties. The question is always bigger than just the BJP and Congress. It's about the institution itself. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us today.